The first time in 100 years. In any case, this has been the hottest year in 60-70 years.
It's not that they don't water here, but that there is no water here at all.
I'm 30 years old now, and for as long as I can remember, I have never experienced such a drought like this year.
Floods have devastated Pakistan.
For Chinese residents, the summer of 2022 is becoming the most difficult summer in recent history. Record high temperatures, water shortages, widespread power outages, and as a consequence, the forced shutdowns of many companies. The country recorded the longest and strongest heat wave in the observation history. Absolute heat records were broken in many cities in the southwestern and central provinces. Among the latest unprecedented records, temperatures of 44 degrees Celsius were recorded in Sichuan province on August 24th.
Can't say it's the first time in 100 years. In any case, this has been the hottest year in 60-70 years. It's been insanely hot for a whole month already. The temperature is 43-44 degrees every day.
Subway stations and shopping malls have become a haven for thousands of people seeking shelter from the unbearable heat. Farmers rush to save their crops. In July alone, the economic damage from the heat wave was $400 million, affecting 5.5 million people.
Do you know how hard it is for farmers this year? In August, there was no coolness at all, only unusual heat. The country folks are working tirelessly, but all in vain. 2022 will be the worst year for them, especially in the hilly areas of northern Sichuan. Farmers, whose bread depends on the mercy of nature, are very annoyed. They have suffered from severe drought, unprecedented in recent years.
There is no water on the mountain, so we have to go down the mountain to get water. It's a long hike, up and down, almost 2 miles round trip. The temperature right now is high and we have to go get water many times throughout the day. And the hot sun evaporates water instantly.
This year has been too difficult. Farmers are having a hard time cultivating the land. We have to live off what the skies send us. I'm 30 years old now, and for as long as I can remember, I have never experienced such a drought like this year.
It's not that they don't water here, but that there is no water here at all.
A severe drought has disrupted power and water supplies for hundreds of thousands of residents. Dozens of rivers and reservoirs simply disappeared from the face of the earth. The country's largest freshwater reservoir, Lake Poyankhu, is now nothing but vast fields of sand and small streams. They've created patterns on the muddy shoals, which the Chinese media call the Earth Tree, marking the state of the lake as a warning of a dangerous future due to intensification of extreme weather events. China's largest river, the Yangtze, is in even greater distress. The country's main waterway is not only a major source of hydroelectric power, but also a key transport route. The water level in the river has dropped to a historic low. A severe lowering of the water level in the Chunqing Municipality has resulted in a previously submerged island and 3 Buddha statues on it, believed to be 600 years old, being visible above the water. An unprecedented drought and abnormal heat in the same region caused numerous forest fires. Evacuations were carried out in the most affected areas.
It's been particularly difficult recently in Chunqing. Everyone saw the thick smoke rolling in. At that moment, I was just coming up to my apartment, and suddenly I noticed that the mountain across the road was burning and smoking up again.
Heat waves in China are increasing in intensity and duration, and rivers are disappearing one after another. At the same time, people in other parts of the country are suffering from widespread flooding or witnessing atypical phenomena. For example, Xinjiang had its first ever snowfall in August. The snow season usually begins in mid or late September and can last up to 7 months, up to April of the following year. But this year it snowed in May, June, and now in August. At the same time, the temperature dropped to -4 degrees Celsius. Until recently, many of us knew little about this state in South Asia. And today, the whole world is watching with horror the shocking footage coming from Pakistan. A humanitarian catastrophe of incredible proportions. This is how the government characterizes the current situation in the Republic. As of August 25, 2022, almost 3, and in some places 5 times more precipitation fell here than the average for 30 years across the country. The population and infrastructure can no longer cope with the incessant heavy rains that began in mid-June. The dams are full. Some have opened an emergency water discharge. More than 30 million Pakistanis were affected by floods and landslides, and more than 1,000 people were unable to survive the disaster.
A lot of floodwater entered our village, our homes are submerged, some of our relatives have died, and cattle too were not receiving any relief from the government.
The National Disaster Management Authority of Pakistan estimates that more than 200,000 houses were completely destroyed, and about 450,000 were damaged. Millions of people are in urgent need of shelter. Broken bridges and roads prevent people from fleeing to safer areas. For the same reason, aid cannot arrive on time to many localities. Hundreds of thousands of hectares of crops and orchards have been destroyed by floods and landslides. In addition, over 700,000 livestock, a vital source of livelihood for many families, have died.
The situation of flood affected areas is heartbreaking. Floods have devastated Pakistan. We are victims of climate catastrophe. I have seen that most of the homes, majority of the livestock, hotels, shops, markets are sinking down in water. I never seen in my life such a huge flood, such a dangerous flood, and such a dangerous raining in the entire history. According to the National Disaster Management Authority, last night a news they discussed that in the history of Pakistan, first time we are calculating such a huge flood and raining. For the last 2-3 days, people are spending nights on national highways.
Unfortunately, in modern society. The conditions are such that the problem of forecasting and eliminating the consequences of dangerous climatic phenomena has been and still remains the most difficult. Change is only possible only when the value of human life is in the first place.